So I want to ask you this and maybe give you an opportunity to just talk a little bit more about Factivity and the differentiators. But, as you know, Oskar, implementation process and methodology is crucial. And you've alluded to that a little bit throughout this conversation. But what more can you share with our listeners as to how you feel your implementation process is a differentiator from other MES players? Do you feel that the way you approach your practice and to ensure success, what does that look like within Factivity?
Okay. Well, one thing about Factivity is that it's very highly configurable, right? So we take everything that we've ever learned in Factivity, every modification, not customization. Okay? We typically like to say we don't do customizations, but we will modify the product to enhance what it does today to get it ready for the next customer and the next customer and the next customer. So as we start to make modifications in the product, maybe it was customer focused, we can reuse that to tackle the next customer's unique situation. Sometimes customers look at our enhancement list and go, why would anybody need that? But then they're the same customer when they ask us for something, say, well, if we use this feature that we put in, it solves your problem. And so that's a big deal of Factivity. Another thing is Factivity has a station concept. So every single terminal or PC that's on the floor running Factivity can be configured differently. So you could share a screen with multiples. You could have it on a single machine, so you have a lot of flexibility there. Plus, the behaviors can change. Do I need to have multiple operators, or can they only select the first job from a list, or maybe the first three? All of that can be configured, right? Maybe at this area, they could cherry pick, if you will, different jobs as theirs. They have the freedom to do that, but over here they can't. So you can control that at what we call the Factivity station level. When we look at an area of the factory, that's what we're trying to understand, right? How is that manufacturing performed, and how does the operator report their data, right? And we review the enterprise transactions that would be reported. For the most part, they're fairly standard, right? You've got runtime, you've got problem time, you've got this, that, and the other thing. So there's a pretty finite list of data that can be sent to the enterprise system. So how are they collected? What determines that? How about the materials, right? Are there attributes to any of that, right? When I have production, do I have to know some particular details that have to be collected? Factivity provides a lot of flexibility without customizations, without modifications, where you can just plug and play different keypads to say, here, I need to collect these 2 bits of information. I need to collect these 4 bits of information. I need to collect these 4 bits of information, but this one is actually calculated based on some other data. All of that kind of stuff is the stuff that's built in to what we do with Factivity and that Factivity station. Machine integration is an interesting one here too. We need to work with your integrators and your engineers to understand signals, but let's look at a simple one, right? One of the hardest ones to get is, when is the machine running? What determines that the machine is actually in a run state? Is it because the power's on? Is it because the door is closed? Is it when the power is on and the door closed and the button is pressed and the light goes on and this head moves 2 inches? Any of that, is the kind of things that we need to figure out. So it sounds easy. When's the machine running? Well, how do we get that out of signals, right? What kind of signals do we pull together to get that? So we like to think that our overall implementation arc is generally short. And when we combine that with with a customer's implementation team that's dedicated and motivated, we get good success then. So we spend a lot of time trying to get to that success. But as I said before, also try to have a satisfied customer.
Well said. I like that. And I picked up in that answer, Oskar, again, I think a common theme, again, is just the focus on the customer, really understanding the customer and not just the product, right? You guys understand the product, of course, but it's really how to make that product work for the customer, considering the operators, what are the needs on the floor, how do you make it efficient? And it sounds to me like you have a methodology and some key ideas that you think through in order to bring all that together.